Just before we start, big thank you to Annabelle, Alexandra and team, not just for this wicked event today, but for everything they do. In particular, the community they've created. I think I speak on behalf of all of us. We really appreciate it. So, AI is no longer on the fringes. It is involved in how we serve our customers, how we make decisions, and ultimately, how we compete. The opportunity is enormous, but so is the responsibility to get it right. Most of us already understand the core ingredients: strong executive support, solid governance, high quality data, the right technology. But today I'd like us to go beyond the obvious, uncover what else is driving progress in organisations, how firms are enabling people, evolving culture, and translating ambition into impact. I'm looking for this session to be practical, honest and human, so everyone here leaves with some insights they can use straight away. So we'll start with a quick fire question, and that question is, what's one decision your organisation has made that you're proud of and you'd repeat, or you wish you could take back? Who wants to go first?
I'll go, why not, James?
Thank you.
I thought you made a very nice note there about thanking Evident and thanking community. I've come here, hi, I'm Dan from CommBank in Australia. One of my regrets is not allowing more time to get over the jet lag. We do a thing in Australia, which is we acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet, and especially in the age of video conference, also those joining us from other places. And the team at Evident stream this to anybody who wants to watch. And there may be some very eager folk in Australia, in Gadigal land, and hi to anyone in Sydney who's there. Also, my mother-in-law. I'm from Cardiff in South Wales, and she said, "Oh, Dan, are you doing a presentation? Can I watch it?" And I said, "Well, you could. I'm not sure it's your bag," but she called me last night and said, "I tried to register, but it wanted my job title, and I retired 10 years ago." And I want to say, did you say you're like the head of agentic AI for the Mysekoi knitting circle in South Wales? You know, Zuck will probably buy your company or something. So if you're there, Tina, don't say I didn't warn you. More seriously, the thing that I don't regret, that I think was a really good idea, was the merch, the T-shirt. You know, I really wish I'd thought to charge for these things. It would probably be in the top 5 of our ROI AI use cases, because there is everybody in the Commonwealth Bank of Australia currently wears one of these things. You know, I was in the train station the other day coming into work, and there were people all over the show. I don't know any of these people, but they were all wearing the AI T-shirt. And that really, you know, was a deliberate choice to think about breaking down silos across organizations. And it's really cool to see the way that we've thought about the community, as you put it, of practitioners. And that's really everyone in the bank. And I think that's a thing that was a really good move, and really, really pleased we made that.
Thank you. An unexpected answer in many ways, but thank you. Kristin?
I was worried I came to the wrong panel.
I feel you may have, Guy, but not for the reasons that you...
Kristin, to you, please.
I was hoping Guy was going to go next after I had to follow the T-shirt guy. So we did not give T-shirts out for all, but we did. One of the things that I'm really proud of is we rolled out AI training for all. So AI for all was created, and we wanted to get it into 55,000 plus people's hands. And that I'm really, really proud of, because it democratized access and learning, which is really, really important for our firm.
Thank you. Now, gents, we've had 2 things they're proud of. Can we have some things you might take back?
So, well, my philosophy in life, since you started with the human aspect of it, is everything happens for a reason, so never regret, even the bad stuff. Having said that, if there's one thing I would definitely, on a personal level, in the whole space of AI, is having learned to say no a lot earlier. You know, coming from an academic background, being an engineer, many times people are saying like, "Oh, can you do this?" You're like, "Yeah, I can, of course." And it's actually the realization of going, whoa, actually, hold on a second. Why? Why do you want to do this? What's the potential value? How do we think about it? What's the impact? Rather than building something cool. Because, you know, there's so many times you have those situations when you build something that you're extremely proud of, you know, have that massive presentation, and you're waiting for that standing ovation, and someone goes, and what now? So that would be the thing which I would kind of like to have done even better before. And on the good side is, and kind of building up on this one, it's just grabbing the bull by the horn and saying, look, we're just going to do it. It's like, you know what? Obviously, the cost estimations, of course, the estimations of revenue, benefit, whatever you want to call it, is important. It's good. But this obsession about being exact, at some point it has to be put aside and saying, look, this is important, we're just going to do it. Like, do we have an ROI on email? Like, do we have an ROI in Word? Do we have an ROI in Excel? No, we just have it there. And we kind of have to start at some point in trying it out. So those kind of be the two things.
Thank you. Guy?
I like the saying no. Saying no, it's very hard.
Just say no.
But saying a lot more no, it's absolutely right, and being much more focused. But you know what? When I think in retrospect, moving faster is much more important than being exact. I see today people changing organization, 3 times in 6 months. I think we change organization 3 times in 5 years. Having the discipline to really think about what you centralize, what you decentralize, how you find the right operating model for your organization, giving the volume of work that you need to do, focusing on less, more bold ideas, and having the right organization with the right level. I think those decisions should be much quicker in retrospect.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk enablement. David, you're the head of enablement at Standard Chartered. Many of us would assume that covers giving people access to the right tools, the right infrastructure, the right training. What are the less obvious things that role entails?
So this is a new thing, which I have to give full credit to Shami Kunda, who's actually started a couple of years back. It's actually to make AI boring again. And what do I mean by that? On 2 things. One is we kind of get 99% of all the attention, but only 1% of the budget. But that's aside. It's the less obvious tasks. It's the simple one. It's the boring one. It's like it's not these massive initiatives of we're going to colonize Mars. It's, faster mechanism in terms of automatically writing memos, consolidating and triangulating information, helping to review legal documents. It's actually little things that, as they become pervasive within an organization, accelerate that understanding, the usage. Like I just said earlier, in terms of Word. Imagine you go to an organization and you're getting a job offer, and they say to you, oh, we love it, here's a good deal, and you're only allowed to use pen and paper. I'm pretty sure you're going to say, you know what, maybe that's not for me. We kind of need to get to that same stage with AI. When you go to an organization, you ask, again, pick the tool of your choice, whether it's Gemini, whether it's Writer, whether it's this, doesn't matter. And he's saying, do you have those capabilities enabled cross-wide? And if the answer is no, saying, well, you know what, I don't think I can be the best that I can be. So that's about enablement. And something the guy mentioned about, there's this existential debate that seems to be going on forever about, is it central? Is it federated? Is it central? Is it federated? I'm like, why are we obsessed with binary? It's both. You need to have a capacity of driving a standard, the approach, the mechanism, the framework. But at the same time, it needs to be a commodity. Make AI boring again.
Just give everyone the same T-shirt, mate.
Well, maybe there's a slogan for your next T-shirt. Here we go.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
So long as you don't share this idea from yourself.
As it relates to AI enablement, is there one thing if you could disable something, maybe it's a policy, a mindset, a fear, what would you disable? What's holding us back?
All right.
Okay, my instinctive...
Somebody else's mic is really hot, just FYI.
Yeah, just don't go to the toilet. You'll thank me later. No, so when you ask that question, the first thing that popped into my head is choice. I know this sounds maybe a bit weird, but sometimes we're actually spoiled for choice. We're like, oh, do we want this? Do we want that? Can we do this? And you get 100 cooks in the kitchen. And sometimes the worst thing is not just the cooks, is you have the people who watch MasterChef who come into the kitchen and try and tell you what to do. In certain scenarios, you need to have someone who simply takes the accountability, saying, look, we're just going to try it out. Whether succeed or fails, it doesn't matter. And when it comes to enablement, if you have upfront too many of these variations, you'll never get to the point when actually trying something, because you're constantly backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. So I mean, it's a bit weird, but that's the first thing that popped into my mind. Because in the end of the day, actually, the ultimate choice is secondary. It's demonstrating the viability of it. It's demonstrating that there's actual value. And if we go back, what was it, 2 months ago now? You had the MIT report, there was a ServiceNow report, there's a BCG report. I mean, literally, pick your organization of choice. It's talking about what are we really getting out of AI in the organizations. We need to essentially hunker down and go like, look, the value is astronomical. Just like we know knowledge is critical. But We need to get to the point where we're not just talking about it theologically, we're not just talking about it as concepts, it's in the organization, it's in production. It has passed the gateway of security. It's out there in the ether.
Okay, so make AI boring and take away choices. on the mark on less obvious answers. Okay, thank you. So Dan, we'll move from enablement to strategy, perhaps some constraints. AI first, client first, culture first, risk first. There's a huge number of these things that we're seeing in everyone's glossy presentations on AI. Where are CBA on that, and how does that manifest in your day-to-day decision making?
Well, that one's super easy. That's customer first. Customer first, second and third. Then we'll worry about the other stuff. Like, I want to divert for a second, because maybe I should come up with a regret as well, because David's answer was brilliant. It's triggered me a little as well. I mean, a recent regret is that I spent almost all of today sat at the very back of this fabulous arena, and if you're as short as I am, that's a mistake. Because all I could see all day was not the people speaking, but this picture behind me, and I think that's a murmuration, as they call it, of starlings. So this is when the birds kind of flock together and move in these strange patterns, and I was pretty sure it was starlings, but I had to check. So I used a generative AI, and it said, "Oh, an insightful question, Dan. You're so interested in nature," and blah, 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 blah. It was very obsequious. It gave me far more than I asked for. And it said, starlings are, the murmurations are very popular with poets because they can signify collective intelligence or unity in chaos. Now, I will leave this audience to determine which of those two things I was thinking about throughout many of the sessions today, and where we are, and the way we sort of group around terms or not. I mean, what's a little bit of audience participation? If we're all this murmuration, what are we flocking towards here now this year? Agentic, yeah, correct, yeah. What's it going to be next year? Collective intelligence, maybe quantum, again, fingers crossed. But I think the point is, what we actually think about in terms of CommBank strategy, and this is really kind of where we go wrong, to David's point. It's like, what are the fundamentals? And if it's customer first, why aren't we talking about what we do for customers and what is the value proposition for customers about AI? That's really, I think, the number one piece of the strategy for CommBank, and it sounds very simple. I don't see an awful lot of people doing it. So to give you maybe a practical example of the actual tangible benefits of what's on offer from generative AI, let's say, for customers. So we've reduced fraud and scam losses incurred by our customers by 76% since the peak in 2022. And we use AI, and we use a lot of it, a lot of different ways in which we use that. And believe you me, the number of people trying to commit fraud and scams is not going down. So we're getting better and better, and we have to. Generative AI use case that we've delivered that I'm really proud of, the team that did this and worked on it is, you get those phone calls, and it's a scammer, right? And they're saying, "Oh, I'm calling you from Amazon or eBay or whatever it is, and we've noticed this transaction, and, can I have your bank account details if it isn't you so I can repay you?" Or we did a CommBank working with a local company in Australia called Apate, is create 10,000 synthetic personalities, generative AIs of Australian consumers. And we bought 10,000 odd phone numbers at random. So the scammers are calling, and every so often they'll get one of our generative AIs, and it will absolutely perfectly convince the scammer on the other end that they're speaking to a Mark. And first things first, every minute that the scammer is on the phone to our, Bruce from Townsville or Sheila, I really shouldn't say Bruce or Sheila, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the Australians joining us. But every minute that the scammer is on the line, real customer is not being scammed. Our record is 52 minutes keeping him on the line. The guy gets really, really angry. It's great. But more importantly, the intelligence we gather from the scammer about where they're collecting the money, who else they're working with, what the technique is, feed that back in real terms, real-time intelligence into our AI estate to defend against fraud and scams for customers. So while we're talking a lot today about it's complicated because you have to deal with the regulation and it's hard to get people to let's think about the narrative and how we talk to customers. That really is kind of key to the strategy at CommBank, I think.
Okay, thank you. Now, one constraint, maybe a slightly shorter answer if we may. Park funding, park governance, park access to data. What's the number one constraint that you're facing at CBA that's stopping you from doing more?
So let me talk to you about swallow murmurations. I mean, I went down a really big rabbit hole on this stuff. I'll be brief. Apparently, they don't all follow each other. They can, at most, see the 6 or 7 swallows around them, right? And everybody sort of collectively moves places. And so our CEO, who is a wonderful guy and is wondering right now why the hell I'm talking about swallow murmurations a lot.
He's not alone.
He's not alone.
Yeah.
I know, he's very smart. There's the collective intelligence.
How many days haven't you slept?
It's been a lot of days, mate. It's a lot of days without sleep. But the point of my swallow murmuration thing is that the fact that we're collectively following crazy... Oh, this is a very important and profound point I am about to make.
Make it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Are you with me? We're with me. Right. Come on. If Matt heard your question, what's the constraint? He was like, tell me. He asks me that 15 times a day and everyone, and I'll get out of the way. You know, we're incredibly lucky to have a CEO so committed to making this work for everybody. So if I were to offer some advice to my CEO, which you really shouldn't do, by the way, especially not when you're being recorded and broadcast, it's like, we get the intention, but let's dial down the kind of everything everywhere all at once about it. In reality, we do this consciously. It makes my job slightly harder, perhaps, at times, but it's absolutely worth it because the collective benefits that we get from our people being able to do AI and have constraints away from them delivers incredible things for our customers.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to Guy. We'll talk about leadership. So
You can have another follow-up with Dan. It's okay. I'm happy to listen. It's interesting.
No, I'm okay. So JPMorgan have led the index since inception. Your CEO talks about returns in measures of billions. No one else does that. Is it reasonable to assume you're in the hearts and minds of your business leaders with AI? And if so, how did you do that?
So I think we've been in AI or in AI transformation for over a decade. So it isn't new. And I think the key, I'll say, attributes will be top-down. So Jeremy talks about this, the OC talks about this, management committee talk about this, business heads talk about it, etc. And bottom-up. I think you heard about LLM Suite and everyone is using it. All the software engineers have a code assistant deployed and installed and they're using it. And everyone in the organization live it in their daily business. So the top-down, bottom-up is important. The second one is really getting as many initiatives as possible owned by the businesses, for the businesses, in the businesses, showing a lot of progress across the organization. So it's not really a hype. It's something that's actually happening. If it's in KYC, in fraud, across all operation, in the businesses, AI is great in optimization. So wherever you have optimization problem, it's great. So getting those experiences in our businesses and for our clients. The big one, obviously, is incredible investment that people can see in cloud, in data platform, in organizing the data, getting Teresa organization set up. Teresa kind of put enormous amount of discipline around how you measure it, how you scale it, how you put the right governance, how you put the right tools, how you ensure that individuals, functions, and businesses start to transform. So I think it become a business initiative as opposed to you just talk about AI as an AI standalone. I think the years that we create kind of solutions somewhere that looking for problems in the business is gone probably a decade ago. So that's really the main point. It's a business-driven initiative powered by AI, as you know.
Thank you. Very helpful to tee up my next question. Everyone here, I think, looks enviably at JPMorgan and some of the stuff that you said and some of the stuff that you guys have got access to, the pools of resources. Hypothetically speaking, if you were to leave JPMorgan and go to a bank with a much lower level of sort of AI maturity, much lower down on evidence index, taking the obvious of budget and scale and stuff out the way, what do you think would be the hardest thing to replicate when you start in that new role?
First, I think you would know it. I see you are from UBS. You just hired our CIO a week ago. At least I read in the press. So I think easy just to take people from organizations and start again. What I will do, I think...
We are very excited to welcome Daniele, who joined by choice.
So definitely you can hire from and learn. I think if I'll start again, we started with this, focus. Choose areas that's really going to transform your business and invest in them. Like having thousands of POCs, small scale, it's just waste of massive time and energy for the organization. So finding those areas that you can actually transform your business, focus on them, putting the right teams, capabilities, remove bureaucracy, change management, communication, getting employees on board, getting leadership on board. That's where I would focus. Getting the right organization, the right capabilities, and the right ideas. Having thousands of things running around, it's the wrong way.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for
the
playfulness as well. Kristin, you've done some amazing work on the human-AI sort of combination. I get asked all the time in my role, what are the right metrics to measure AI success with? And that's quite a difficult one to answer. This cool work that you've done on the human and AI interaction, first of all, just for the benefit of the audience, what is it? And then, if you can, what's been the most prominent metric or the most prominent thing that you think has been interesting for people?
Yeah. So last year on this stage, I said to the audience that we're all playing in this cost efficiency world, and that's not going to really scale, and it's not going to drive the results that our shareholders and our boards and our CEOs are going to ask for. So there needs to be a shift, not away from cost-saving activity, because that does help support your EPS and your ROE, et cetera, but you need to have revenue-generating use cases and get very pedantic with it. So I'm going to come back to the human-agent ratio, but you wanted this to be practical and have the audience walk away with something. So with revenue, one of the things that's really, really important is getting exceptionally pedantic. So our team, and EJ, you met earlier on stage, he runs our applied AI for us. He's not allowed to execute any kind of use case that doesn't drive 1 basis point of return. And so for me, I got very pedantic. That means my team, EJ and others, know that that use case that we work on has to drive 7.6 million in net new revenue or take out 3.4 million in cost to impact 1 basis point. Your number will look different depending on your size and scale of your institution, but figure out what that basis point is and drive hard after that output. Value creation is absolutely everything, and that does make AI sexy. It's not, that makes it not boring, right? And then so the human agent is so that's the revenue conversation, and then the human to agent ratio is really another new metric to introduce to our vocabulary and our equations at our banks. And that one is really where you take your total workforce. That's not just how many employees you have, that's your offshore, your contractors, any kind of human that you have engaged in your institution over your true production grade agents. And what you want to do is start measuring that. And this is not sexy. This is a very boring metric, but the math is so simple that it doesn't allow any of us to hide anymore in our profession. It is so straightforward. You will be able to show year after year the value that your team is creating in this space by having this kind of a ratio. So it's measuring, you might start with 100 to 1, but then as you progress and you add more agents to your workforce, you should start seeing that ratio decline and your cost not increase. So that is the beauty of that human to agent ratio metric that I think we should all start adopting and taking in.
Thank you. What surprised you most about, you've measured a lot of stuff. What's the most surprising stuff that's come out of your findings there?
I think that it's harder you're not going to be able to impact a basis point if you're chasing the pilot initiatives. That's good to start somewhere. I completely agree with Manuela from earlier. You do need to start. So if you're at the starting stage, then start. That's fine. But to scale this, you can't be doing one pilot here and one pilot there. Find a horizontal and go after that horizontal. Now, that horizontal might not be an entire line of business, but that horizontal could be the entire credit card platform, the entire onboarding horizontal, the entire fraud arena. But attacking it piecemeal across an entire organization, you know, dabbling is not going to really scale in the end. So you need dabbling to get some experience under your belt, but then you got to go hard after the horizontal. And that horizontal is usually the business leaders who want to participate and who know that they can't grow without you.
Thank you.
That's an excellent point. Like, if you can really scale the entire thing, it's incredible. Something that I haven't mentioned, which we started a year ago, is what we call AI for operation for the entire JP Morgan franchise, including the retail side, the wholesale side, across the entire thing. And we have an amazing team, AI team, that focused on what are the 2 or 3 big areas that we want to invest. So we selected voice, all the call centers, and documentation, all the documentation processing, and this is across the entire franchise.
Right.
And that's
and everybody can do that. It's not a JP Morgan, I have all the money, I have all the talent thing. Like if you are a 10-person digital bank, you can do this. It's just picking whatever your horizontal means to you and going after that entire supply chain with AI. That's what scales, and that's what gives you a basis point.
They might not have all the talent. I mean, Guy might be leaving to work at another. But I think more broadly, on a long enough timeline, you know, the conversation we're having about AI maturity is really going to it's going to be the same saying, which bank is the most mature at using cell phones? Right, it's going to be everywhere. Really, the thing to look at is kind of which banks are really good banks. And it's going to correlate, and it already does, dare I say it, very well-performing banks are tending to do very, very well in AI. And I think the broad thing to take from that in this age of competition and what do we take away is, you know, one thing that gets thrown around almost as a diss in the tech world around generative AI is, oh, that's just a wrapper for ChatGPT, right? Lots of companies, oh, that's just a wrapper. In a sense, banks are a wrapper for a risk function, right? That's what banks do, right? We manage risk. And it's a very good wrapper, and there's lots of stuff about customer service within there. But effectively what we're doing is, you know, centuries old, really, and customers trust us with their money because there are not a couple of hundred people in a frontier lab, but tens of thousands of people building a company that they can trust their finances with. And so that really is the sort of unique, as we're talking about responsible AI, it's not a kind of nice to have. Really, that is the discriminator for us. And when that's kind of easy for everybody, that means that we don't talk about, you know, where do you go after AI? It's just core business for us. And I think that's the real advantage that banks have in AI.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jump very, very quickly, and I think it's a common thread that's kind of been mentioned, is we need to constantly remember that we're not doing tech for tech. We're not doing AI for AI. It's a business objective. And the moment you're able to anchor that and you're able to move yourself, and it's a very hard thing to do because we're all, you know, we love the technology, we love the gizmos, we love to build stuff, but we need to kind of consciously, not solution, we need to consciously say, like, what is the objective they're trying to achieve? And is that part of our underlying differentiator in achieving that? Then, from a platform point of view, from an end-to-end, from a human-centric point of view, that is ultimately the differentiator. And the moment we realize that we're not building tech for tech, we're not building AI for AI, that's when things change.
Yeah, that certainly resonates. So I was going to ask a quick fire question to finish.
Was it about swallow memoration? Because
in the spirit of learning, I'm not going to do that. So
that on myself.
A big thank you to our panel today, and thank you everyone.